one of the things we talked about in our conversation for the podcast, we talked about Christian voter mobilization efforts and how those have changed due to the rise of big data. Can you talk a little bit about what that trajectory has looked like over the last few decades and kind of where we are now?
Yeah, it's pretty extraordinary. Actually, Denise and I were talking about it last night at dinner when we were both working for George W. Bush in 2000. The Evangelical Coalition was not really my portfolio, but because of my background at the Christian Coalition, you know, I had an interest. So we were building, if you can believe it, just to give you a feel for how much American politics has changed. In 2000, when I worked for George W. Bush, there were 18 battleground states. 18. Today there are, what, 5? 6, really? Just tells you how much the country's changed. So we were building evangelical voter files at every one of those states. And we were doing it by going to churches and collecting membership directories, manually key punching those membership directories, and then bumping those files up against the voter file. So if they were unregistered, we'd give that data back to the church and say, these are your unregistered members. We want to help you get them registered. And if they were registered, then we did flights of mail and phones. We weren't even doing digital yet. You know, we thought the internet was email. That's how much things have changed. Fast forward to 2024, okay? So this is a quarter of a century later. At Faith and Freedom Coalition, my organization, working with the data partners that we work with, our primary data partner is Data Trust, which is the voter vault for the Republican Party, but we have other faith-based and for-profit data partners that we work with. The total size of our evangelical, pre-qualified, modeled social conservative voters in the United States is 45 million. 45 million on the file, with probably, by the way, another 12 to 15 million that aren't on the file because they're not registered to vote. In 2000, that file nationwide was 8 million. Today it's 45 million. Wow. In Georgia, my home state, just to give you one other data point, at the peak of the Christian Coalition in the mid-90s, when Georgia was one of our strongest organizations, I had 80,000 ID'd pre-qualified evangelical households. The industry standard is there's 1.7 registered voters in each of those households. So, you know, figure we're talking somewhere in the neighborhood of 140,000 total votes. 140,000. Today, our modeled pre-qualified evangelical voter file in the state of Georgia is 1,824,000. So we have the ability, through the technological innovations that we're living in, to identify and turn out the largest number of Christian, Bible-believing, born-again Christian voters, literally in the history of our country. And the only thing standing between us and that reality is praying God to raise up the workers of the harvest. It's right there in our hands. It's the opportunity not only of a lifetime, but in the life of our nation. And it is spiritual as well as civic malpractice for us to have the tools that we now have, including AI, by the way, and not use them for the building of God's kingdom here on earth.